Hello, everyone. I'm Dara Bunjon. I'm the food enthusiast here at Jaime Living. If this is your first time tuning in, I am a PR maven, food writer, food stylist, and a frustrated baker. Since I do the show on my phone, I need to look side to side to the computer from time to time to see if you have any questions or comments. So please feel free to send them in. And I want to remind people early on in the show that this show will be up on the Facebook page for Jaime Living immediately after the show, and will be on jameliving.com. So feel free to take the show with you for running, walking, car trips, or anything like that. Dig back into the archives for the many guests that we have. Today's guests are sisters and performers in their own right, and now co-founders of El Sativo Tequila. Jaime Whitton, also known as Whitton, as a singer-songwriter, and Sister Stacey Whitton Summers, who is a tribute artist. Good morning, ladies.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I had a chance to speak with Stacey a little bit earlier, but I didn't get a chance to speak with Jaime. So, Jaime, you're in LA. Stacey, where are you right now?
I am in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, performing for Legends in Concert. I'm doing Pat Benatar right now, and I'm doing Shania Twain in that show. But my days are filled with tequila all the time. That seems to be all I do.
Well, you're Chief Operation Officer, and Jaime, I hear you're more the creative front of house, as we would call it, the PR, the food, the cocktails, and mixology.
Yes.
Okay. Now, I want to get down to the nitty gritty, and that's an old song, which is before your time, but I figured since you were singers that I do that. And I'm not going to sing. I was asked to lip sync at my high school graduation. It's the truth.
I love it.
Why at this time in your careers, Jaime, award-winning singer, lyricist, and you, Stacey, with your shows that you're doing, why, in the middle of this, why tequila? Why not gin? Why not bourbon? Why tequila? Can you talk about the genesis of El Sativo? And I leave it to you to decide who's talking when.
Well, that is a loaded question.
Yeah.
There's many, many years to why we are where we are now. And for me, when I would tour with Stacey quite often with our own music throughout the years. And when I wasn't touring with Stacey, I was in Los Angeles with my brothers, opening up different bars and restaurants, coming up with pop-ups, developing menus. And my true passion outside of music really began with growing my own food. I was taking care of our grandfather for 9 years as his personal cook and caretaker. And
Right.
I started making things from scratch. And so we opened a family bar, in Los Angeles long ago. And I was the creator of our food menu concept. So I started to realize after my grandfather started to feel better, create all the dishes from scratch, you could really have sinful food if you have the right salts, if you have the right sugars. Not many people want to go out to bars and have raw food and a drink. They want to have hamburgers and salty food, sugars and things like that. So with my grandfather, if he ate it, I knew everybody would love it. So as time moved on, we, got into terpenes, where all plants have terpenes. And at our bar restaurant, we started putting those terpenes that had those anti-inflammatory elements, mood lifters, in all of our food and chocolates and cocktails. And just to elevate a better food and beverage experience.
And there's a lot of sorry.
Go ahead.
A lot of reasoning of why tequila. you know, there's so many benefits to the plant. I'm sure all your viewers and know how wonderful it is. A couple just talking points on why we thought with tequila, not only is it yummy, but it's also about the sustainability of what we can do with the agave plant, right? Like in history of the agave plant, it was what they used to survive. It's kind of, they call it the cousin or the brother of the hemp plant. So you can use the whole agave for different reasons. You know, they can make the strong rope. You've probably read about this before. Rope and textiles. They make paper out of agave. That was a really, really big one. And of course, tequila as a spirit is known to be the least likely, if it's made pure and more, you know, closer to the traditional way of making tequila, to give you less likely to have a very, very bad hangover if it's 100% pure Blue Weber agave. So those were things that we loved. Also loved the different, if you again, back to quality, and you grow a great agave and you make great tequila, you've got all of these things. It should be very complex and wonderful. And tequila offers diversity in the actual spirit. If it's made correctly, that you know, other tequilas, if they cut corners, you don't get that diversity because they have to add things back in to try to get the flavor right. But there's a lot of diversity and complexity, of course, in all spirits, but we just loved those particular ones in the tequila. And of course, one thing that a lot of people don't know is that the sugars in tequila, one of the main ingredients is inulin. So inulin doesn't spike your insulin the same way that regular sugars do, as in other spirits. And so that's another thing. A lot of diabetics gravitate to that. People who want a lower calorie, it's 64 calories an ounce. And of course, we just loved the process in general. I know that was a really long answer to your question.
No, well, look, it didn't happen overnight. I mean, you know, did Jaime come to you, or did you go to Jaime, or were you sitting around the kitchen table with the family and say, who said?
Well, I think because we have such a large family and we've all been in entertainment most of our lives, you know, what do you do when you move to a big city and you're on the road? A lot of times you become a waitress or a bartender or a bar back, a manager. And so just kind of interweaving both entertainment plus food and beverage, they kind of go hand in hand, being an artist. So for me, and actually our whole family, we are big foodies. We love food. Yeah. We could probably eat a whole large pizza ourselves, each of us. So we just really fell in love with that industry, and taking care of my grandfather, going back to that, I really, for myself, you know, as you know, El Sativo is USDA organic, non-GMO, kosher certified. So when we were looking for our partnership, our distillery in Amatitan, Jalisco, those attributes were super important. And so when I was growing our own food, I, you know, compared soil gardening to aeroponic tower gardens, and really felt that USDA organic, non-GMO, how sustainability is so important. And so again, looking for those attributes when looking for our partnership, that's what I and our whole family is actually very passionate about.
Well, I know the tagline for El Sativo is better tequila, better world. So it isn't just what's going in the bottle, it's about the bottle.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, right. So that goes back to the things that we grew up with and the things that our parents instilled with us, which is always leave things better than you found it. You know, give back and, you know, focus on quality with whatever you do and the integrity in how you do it, and the rest will follow. So that's permeated, you know, everything that we do in our lives and our businesses. And again, one of those things being we give back to Ocean Conservancy. So like you said, we have 100% recycled glass. We have an organic compostable label, which means the trees that is grown with don't have any pesticides or fungicides, so that doesn't go back into the soil. And we also have a natural cork, and we give back to Ocean Conservancy. You can go to our website, is the easiest way, elsativo.com, and you can donate there. But if not, you can buy a bottle and you'll be giving back just by doing that.
Well, we told people, I know that you're being here in Maryland. El Sativo hasn't made it here yet. Right. Can they purchase online? Can it be shipped to the Maryland area? Now, understand this video is seen not just in Maryland, but people are going to be excited about it, or they should be, after listening to both of you and knowing the quality of the product and knowing that, what was it, you finished bottling it one day and entered it the last day of some contest?
Oh my gosh. Well, we had quite a scare. A definite epic culinary fail. However, it was at the end of it was saved. So going back to the beginning of when we started bottling our juice, we had to pour out 3,600 bottles because we were so many different distillation trials with our master distiller. About 5 or 6 times, we finally got it to a place where, like, okay, we're ready to bottle. We have to submit for these, amazing San Francisco World Spirit competition. And last minute, we poured out 3,600 bottles because it just wasn't right.
Tell me about it. And then, how would you like to be in this, table of people, and we're tasting, and we're in Mexico, and of course, and constantly there back and forth, and coming home and super excited, and then we go, we really should have gone with blah blah blah, we got to go back down there. Anyway, I had to make that phone call. I was like, I'm not going to be the one to call, not me. But so calling down there and saying, oh, we got to come back down. But I don't know if it's so much I don't know if I view it as a epic fail. I think more than anything, it takes courage to and patience to have a quality product. And so we had to make that call, right? And it's a good thing.
Right. Jamie's favorite word is be flexible.
Be flexible. Yes, because there's so many changes. It's maybe I picked the wrong career on both spectrums, because I am a planner, and I get set in my ways, and I said, okay, we're gonna execute it like this, and it never happens the way that you want it to. Daily
things change. She's right. And of course, to answer your question again, with the awards, so we were so thankful, where it's a good thing that we made that call, because I think it was like a week later, we weren't going to be able to submit, and so anyway, we were able to do that. And so that was in the San Francisco World Spirits competition, which is absolutely the most prestigious blind tasting out there. It's a world competition, and we were very fortunate to win the Tequila of the Year. So it's a good thing we made that call. And that was the first time in many years that they had a Blanco win the entire category. So it won over all the Reposados and the Niejos. Of course, our Reposado and Niejo wasn't out yet at that time, but they were resting in barrels. But so, that's just a testament to how great the juice is, and how great the quality is, and all the steps that we've taken that we'll talk about, being organic, kosher, non-GMO, and all of the other things that we'll touch on. Why? And the most important thing, of course, is that the public, that you guys love it. So accolades are wonderful. It just, gives us the confidence that other people really love it.
Right, but it helps get it on its shelf, which comes back to, I tend to digress. Can they buy the tequila on the website? I saw it can be purchased, but I'm hoping it can ship anywhere around the country.
Yes, that has to just do with the laws of the state. We do have an alcohol license in Maryland. We'll be in there shortly. We're not quite in there. We're in 10 states right now. We've got 6 on the burner moving forward, and that is one of them. But right now, to answer your question, yes, you can get it online. There's a buy button. There's Jamie. Jamie does so much of this. She's so amazing. There's a place called one particular site that ships mainly to the West Coast.
oldtowntequila.com.
But that's on our
Right.
website. And then we'll be with, there's a couple of other sites that do, yes, ship nationally. So yes, they'll be, if their state allows alcohol to be shipped into it, yes, they can buy it.
And I want to ask because, Jen, you said kosher. And I said to her, she said, are all tequilas kosher? I said, some might be, but they might not have the certification. So do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Sure. That was a really wonderful process for me, and I learned so much about Jewish rabbinical law and different things. It was exciting. So there was a couple of reasons that we did that, not only because we wanted to give a quality and clean product that fell within those rules of the Jewish community, but for our other customers as well. And one of those reasons is, basically it's a guarantee. Being kosher is a guarantee that all aspects of the production fall within those rules, and that what that means is cleanliness in the production. So additives is the main thing that they look for. So the council, the CRT, you've probably heard of that, which is the Council of the Tequila Regulation in Mexico. They allow additives. They allow 4 main categories of additives, and that would be glycerin, and then sugars and flavorings, extracts that they can add in, within reason and still be a pure product. Well, the problem with that, of course, is on the label, it's not listed. So you could buy a tequila, a very quality 100% Blue Weber agave tequila, but if it doesn't have that kosher certification on there, more than likely it has these additives that the government allows them to add. And so why is that important as far as the regulation with kosher? So when our rabbi, of course, goes down a couple times a year, down to Mexico and inspects, they're looking for the glycerin, any kind of animal byproducts, right? Or insects around the growing and the production and the bottling even. They inspect for all of that. So it's very clean. And then there is the glycerin aspect is basically because it could be made from an animal byproduct. And glycerin is added for the feel in your mouth. And if you have a quality product, you don't need glycerin. And that all has to do with how it's grown, how long before you harvest, how you ferment it, how you distill it. All of those things come into play. And so when you cut corners, you end up with something that, of course, doesn't taste the way it's supposed to. You don't get all those gorgeous agave flavors and the fullness and the complexity and the velvety feel. And so they add in glycerin. And then you've got extracts and sugars. And, of course, that has to do with allergies. People have allergies to those things. But one of the main super important parts of that process is finding out what kind of yeast is used in the fermentation. So El Sativo has no added yeast. It's an airborne that comes from the region. So we don't have, we're definitely kosher because of that. But a lot of tequilas, they'll add in different, you'll hear that they use, like, I think there was one I heard that did a champagne yeast or, has to do with wine. And then, of course, with the barreling, it can't have anything to do with wine or anything, barrels. We use ex-charred bourbon barrels that have not been, start out new, and we use those 3 times. So that's why we're able to be kosher on our aged variants.
Let me ask you this, and I know that your husband, Dr. Summers, is a co-founder, but being mainly 2 women, did you incur any issues in trying to start up? Was it a hindrance for you in setting up El Sativo?
I don't think so. Oh, sorry, Jane. I'll let you go ahead and comment on this, but I'll just
I think people are surprised. They're surprised that 2 women, especially not from Mexico, they all of a sudden have a tequila. But it took us, like we said, so many years to get to this place of research and hands-on. So that's been a little bit surprising, I think, for some people.
And traditionally, as you know, the women, were on the forefront, but there's a lot of women in the tequila industry now.
Yeah.
And we actually, it's not just Jaime and I. We have our other two sister-in-laws that are also huge parts of our team. They're national chains and regional teams that they run, and they've been doing that for 20 years plus.
Yeah.
So our team is made up of a lot of experts in the industry, not only women, but of course family, like we mentioned.
Right.
We're a girl powerhouse of sisters.
Well, that's great. I know that you wrote a song, El Sativo.
Yes.
And I put it in when I did the stories. I found it. I was so excited. But I want you to know, I now have the damn earworm. In my head, it's going, El Sativo.
It's
She's singing. I love it.
Yay. Yes.
Yeah.
So that was a very fun experience. And it actually, we weren't, seeking music just comes naturally. And so a few friends of mine, we were sitting around a table and we had the first bottle of El Sativo in Los Angeles. And we ended up drinking the whole entire bottle. And we got the guitars out and we just started playing and voila, we came up with El Sativo, the song, not as a theme song, but actually during that time it was National Tequila Day, which I think at that time it was July 17th or 24th or whatnot. So we decided to, once it was finished and recorded, to release it as a celebration of National Tequila Day for El Sativo.
Well, thank you for the earworm.
and now you can sing. You don't have to lip sync. It's such a great melody. You can sing
That's
it.
about as far as I go.
I want you to do a TikTok with that song and send it to
us. No. I don't do. That's the one thing I don't do. I don't do TikTok. I'm fine on Instagram. I am fine on Facebook. And this goes back already 5 years ago. For my 50th high school reunion, I was considered the techie. So
I love it.
So, but in TikTok, I go, no, I'm dealing with the stories and the feeds, and that works for me.
Yep.
Let's see. I have so many questions down here. Why the name El Sativo?
So we chose El Sativo because it means in Spanish, sown in seeds, so to cultivate. And it goes with our organic, non-GMO, kosher certified, everything that we believe in. And a lover of plants like myself, the agave has, again, like Stacey said, so many helpful benefits throughout history and has been made into so many different things, like needle and threads and nails and fences and even to surfboards, and of course my favorite, which is food and beverage. If that makes sense.
I love it. Yeah. I didn't know surfboards.
Yep.
She always comes to me with this interesting stuff.
Did you know another factoid to add to your website, right?
Yes. And so, hey, did you know that in the beginning of time, the Blue Weber agave,
I know I'm old, but I'm not sure.
It was considered the family of lilies, a lily. But then it actually now has become more of a relative in the asparagus family. A lot of people don't know that.
Yeah, they do ask that. They always think it's I don't know, they think it's aloe vera, a giant aloe vera plant, which I could see because it does kind of look like an aloe vera plant. The history of that plant is super interesting.
Yeah.
Right. Now, I'm wondering if you wrote, Jaime, this comes to you, on the website, there was a phrase that caught my attention and I went, why do I think that Jaime wrote this? And you said, our sweet agave dances in waterfalls of stone fruit, soaking in memorable days and fun-filled nights. Did you write that?
Yeah, well, actually, our whole team came up with that
collaboration.
We're all songwriters, so. But honestly, El Sativo makes you feel like that. It is our giggle juice. There is some controversy there when people say, oh, tequila is a stimulant and all the other spirits are depressants. But for us, having, maintaining those terpenes with those mood lifters and anti-inflammatories, as well as tequila being considered a stimulant, I mean, it really just gives you a lot of energy and makes you just feel good.
Well, I'm hoping to have it past my lips. Most people who know me know that I don't drink, and if I drink, it has to be something white. It has to be vodka or tequila. And a friend, chef, restaurateur, I went down there before COVID. And by the end of the evening, I had done 6 shots. They drove me home. So I had giggle juice. I can appreciate that.
I love it.
We'll
have you tried El Sativo?
We'll have to send you a bottle.
Bring it down.
Well, yeah. I mean, some of the stuff that we always, we get so excited about is that it's the best in the world right now, we always say, but it definitely is. It's organic, it's kosher, it's non-GMO. We filter our water through 135 feet of volcanic rock because we're right there in between the highlands and the lowlands in the city of Amatatan. So that's right by the tequila, about 20 miles outside the tequila volcano. So that really high pH water is really important in how it tastes and how it makes you feel. We always say dirty water, dirty hangover. So the purest and cleanest water, that's Jamie's catchphrase. The purest and cleanest water you can find in Mexico. And then, of course, our distillation process is very close to traditional. We don't use a tahona because that's considered a contaminant. And so being USDA organic, you can't have any of those contaminants, and kosher, actually. And then, of course, non-GMO goes along with the organic. And we did talk about the koshers. But it's a quality product, and we're always about really a better drinking experience. You're going to feel better when you're drinking it, when you put it in things, and, of course, the next day.
Right, and a couple dabs behind the ear wouldn't hurt either.
Yes, and you know what? If you're interested in making some sauces for your skewers or your ceviche, El Sativo goes really beautifully in some sauces.
Well, let me remind people that elsativo.com, and you can go there, and their Facebook page, El Sativo. Yeah. You'll find recipes for the cocktails, for different dishes.
Yeah.
But before I forget, I think congratulations is in order for your Reposado.
Yay!
Yes.
Again, such a surprise and honor.
We 92 from the Wine Enthusiast. Woohoo!
Yeah. I know Meredith. She's a tough cookie, and that was really wonderful to get a 92 from her.
Yeah.
Well, congratulations, everybody. El Sativo, look for it, buy it, send me a bottle. Everybody send me a bottle. Yay!
We have a cocktail too, Instagram. You can go, Jamie, you asked what, one of the things that Jamie does is she's a techie too. She does a lot. She does all of the video production, is in the videos. Of course we have a team as well, but and those cocktails, so we make those cocktails so you can, with El Sativo, and you can make those at home. And that's just on YouTube and the Instagram. Yes. Mm-hmm. El Sativo Tequila.
Yeah.
It's not real hard. Ladies, it's been a pleasure. I have a couple questions. Well, I have 3, so I'll throw it out to you. I didn't ask you when I had it marked down here. Best or worst piece of advice you've received?
Oh, okay. I'll start. Always positive. Our grandfather, the one who I took care of and cooked for, he used to say, never give up. Lovey, never give up. And I think our whole family goes by that one-liner. So,
and we grew up with that, leave it, give back or leave things better than you find them. That was really, really a big thing for us. And, just quality in everything you are and do. That was a big thing as well. My mom was very much nutritionally focused when growing up with foods and things. She used to give us Easter baskets with fruit in it. And we'd be like, Mom, where's the chocolate? Where's the, anyway, very funny. But so that permeates into our life. And that was a big, a great I think that's the best advice. You live your life like that. Everything else will follow.
Great. And one of the two questions I ask at the end, you can both jump in. We won't go about the distillation and emptying the bottles. Your most epic culinary fail.
Well, so going back to when we emptied out the bottles, that was our first blow. And it wasn't a culinary fail. I would just say that was really expensive and almost,
oh my gosh,
you know, very deflating. But I don't know. What would you say, Stace?
I would say that's the only one that I can think about as far as a culinary subject. I mean, we did a lot of research for a long time. Oh, you can tell them about the agave plant. That was cool. I don't know if this is a culinary fail, but we did a lot of research and development over the years to understand those molecules, those terpene molecules that are in the agave plant that are mood lifting and energy boosting. And we had to, go ahead, you can tell them about your friend.
So I have a very good friend who had a 10-year-old Blue Weber agave in his front yard. I mean, it was just stoic. It was so beautiful in his front yard. And I said, can we dig your agave up, and can I drive it to Reno from Los Angeles and chop it up and study the pina and figure out how many terpenes are actually in the Blue Weber. So I drove it up to our lab up in Reno and discovered there was, you know, only about 22 to 26 terpenes in the Blue Weber, where in cannabis there's 264 roughly. So it was just really interesting to find that the ones that we targeted to maintain had those mood lifters and had, you know, but anyway, I had to go through that whole process, and my good friend, so thankful for him. We came back with half the agave and replanted it in the same spot. And now it's been, you know, 4 or 5 years, and it continued to grow back. It was just amazing.
So I think the thing that people are probably wondering as far as that, and I don't know if that's really a fail. I think I'm just kind of, you know, relating that to the R&D that goes into any product. Even if you know, if you're an expert on it and you know a lot, we were super excited about that. We saw these molecules that we're talking about are in all plants.
Yeah.
And so there's some great health benefits to them. And so we thought, oh my gosh, I wonder, you know, normally those get distilled out in all other tequilas. And so that's why it's special, is that we were able to come up with a way, after doing a lot of research, after Jaime dug up the 10-year-old agave and then started on that, you know, found the terpenes, but then saw that they weren't necessarily making it through distillation. So we thought, man, wouldn't it be awesome if we could have all these cool benefits make it through? And these molecules we're talking about, called terpenes, are also responsible for all flavor and aroma of plants.
Yeah.
So in turn, our tequila, especially our Blanco, which is going to be the purest form, right? It's unaged, is going to have all of those incredible complex flavors and different things that normally would get distilled out. So that has a lot to do with why we really wanted to focus on if we could do that. And
it was your husband who helped figure out how to isolate and extract those 100%. Terpenes.
Yes, that, and then of course other people on our team as well. He like I think we talked about that. He has a company in Nevada, and he and a bunch of doctors, you know, that's where that science came from, and understanding that terpene molecules have these benefits and that they're in all plants, and the flavor profiles and everything was super exciting. So anyway, that's how we kind of ventured into that part of it.
Last question. What didn't I ask you that I should have?
Well, I don't know. You asked some really great questions. We do. Let's see if we have any questions that we talked about all of the things.
Well, I think that the profile, Stace, talking about the Blanco and the differences between the Blanco, Repo, and Niejo, which they all are very unique.
Yeah, we get a lot of, you know, I think one of the things that what we talked about earlier before we got on is like what people ask you. You know, people when we do a lot of demos. Jaime is, you know, do a lot of hands-on, like we said, a lot of guerrilla marketing and going in. So we love, you know, one of the things we love about businesses, both being performers and creating accessory lines in different businesses over the years, is we're doing it for people. We're doing it for customers. We want them to love it. We want it to be the best it possibly can be. So when we do these demos, they have these questions. You know, one of them is, you know, people who don't know tequila is, what's the difference between a Blanco, Reposado, and a Niejo? And basically, it's aging. It's aging in color. There's a lot of things that go into that. I know that's a simple answer, but it's true. So the Blanco, of course, being unaged, and our Blanco has bold citrus and pepper on the front end, and then it has a waterfall of stone fruits, and then it has a very, very long agave forward and pepper finish. As a matter of fact, that's one thing that we just really capitalize on. It's the longest finish of any Blanco I have ever tried. That's not a normal thing. So we're really proud of that. I'm excited for you to try it. And then, of course, you want to talk about the difference in the Repo and Niejo, James?
Sure. I mean, going back to the Blanco for just a sec, you just being on the ground floor, we are such a liquid to lips brand. And so many people are surprised. You don't usually find, you know, the co-founders going door to door saying, did you try this? Did you try this? But it's
a lot like the music industry, isn't it? It's a lot like the music industry.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, of course, we have a lot of tequila fans, but a lot of our customers are bourbon and wine drinkers because, like Stacey said, our agave is very velvety. It's creamy. It's full of flavor. There's stone fruits in there, a vibrant citrus on the nose. It's just a very full-bodied Blanco, which if you're not familiar with tequila, it's for Blancos. There's not a Blancos that people like to sip. They're usually shooters or cocktail, cocktail tequila. But ours is definitely very universal. You can sip it and enjoy it. You don't have to pay $200 for a bottle. You know, we sit on the shelf at Whole Foods for $37.49 for our Blanco. But anyway, going back into now taking our juice and then resting it for 9 months and 16 months in ex-bourbon charred barrels. So if you love bourbon, again, some of those characteristics come out. And our Repo is a very warm, alluring. Everybody has a different palate, but I definitely pull out some gingerbread, some candy pecan, some macadamia in there. You're definitely going to get some light wood on there. Our Niejo is a bit more sensual.
Okay, so
lost her.
I do have a comment here, and this was on my brain. I want to thank you both for being on the show. And it seems this person, Bob Summers, do you know him?
What?
Yes,
Hi.
He says,
Hi.
why don't you sing us out with singing El Sativo, and then I'll have a couple comments for General pop you out when you're done singing us out. And then I just have to wrap up a couple of things. But this has been a real joy, a pleasure to meet both of you. So why don't you sing yourselves out with El Sativo?
Oh, we can't hear you, Jane. There you go. Now we can hear you. Sorry, you cut out there for a second.
Okay, we could do the.
You want to do the Sativo Saturday and then go into?
Sure.
Right?
Welcome. 2, 3, 4. Welcome to
Sativo. Can you hear me?
Do it one more time. Yes. 2, 3, 4. Welcome to Sativo Saturday. I think there's a little bit of a delay.
Yeah, sorry. Anyway, we tried, but yeah, that's what we do that quite a bit. That's our little jingle that we wrote for our videos. It's very fun.
Yeah.
Great, thank you. So I always throw a big wah. I hope one day maybe our paths will cross.
Yes, it will, because we will be, and we're going to come find you, and we're going to sit down with you and say, we want to see those shots that you were doing last time. You're a lot of fun, and we love talking to you. So much fun. I'm excited. Thank you for having us.
Yes,
it's a joy. It's a joy. Stay well, stay safe, and I have a couple comments. Everybody, elsativo.com. Okay, next week on the show. We will have Lauren Hughes from Liberty Delight Farms, which is under the same premise as El Sativo, free-range animals, local store, delivery. They're doing some fabulous things, so tune in next week. And always, you can contact me at food@jmoreliving.com. My social is at Dara Cooks. The show will be up on the J More Living Facebook page immediately and in a couple hours on jmoreliving.com. We love it when you share the show with friends and family who might enjoy this. And as always, we want you to remain safe. Luckily, things are being lifted and things are getting better. May your plates always remain full, and I will see you next Thursday.